Hello and welcome to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitz, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Cinthanie McAllister from Cinthanie.com. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl. Hi.
There it is.
There it is. Now we got that out of the way.
You know it. Okay,
Yeah.
so this episode was your idea. You literally text messaged me today, and you're like, girl, we need to do an emergency podcast episode about this topic that is trending on Instagram.
We call it emergency, but I guess we should say urgent episode.
I like that better. I like that. Because emergency means you're having chest pain and you need to go to the ER right now.
Right.
It's not quite an emergency.
It's an urgent message. We'll put it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why don't you tell the listeners what it is that you wanted to talk about on this urgent podcast episode?
Yeah. Okay. So something that I have seen, especially just for my generation, even on social media, is that there are a lot of quick fixes that are being sold and marketed to my demographic specifically. I feel like my demographic is specifically targeted by these products. And the
millennials. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's targeted to all women, but especially the millennials, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Just the way that they market it. And I came across an ad for a appetite suppressing lollipop that just came out. And it came out from a company that is one of the tummy tea companies, drink this tea and you'll have a flat stomach. Like, just a quick fix company,
Right.
And it really got me so upset. Like, when I was texting you, I told her, I was like, you need to give me a couple hours so that I can provide information, not just opinion, because I will pop off. Like, I will.
But what if I want to see you pop off? That's all I'm saying.
Then you can go watch my Instagram stories, because I did pop off.
Oh, yes.
But
I love it.
So anyways, so what really made me so upset about it was who they used to endorse the product. And that was none other than Kim Kardashian. And the reason why that upsets me so much is because whether we like it or not, she's one of the most influential women in the world. In the world, not just here, in the world. No, and she has an incredibly large platform that is... the majority, I want to say, of it is impressionable young women that see her as this ideal of beauty and standard. So anything she says goes. If she tells somebody to wear a waist trainer, those girls are going to save up their money from their part-time job while they're in high school to get that waist trainer because they want to look like her. If she says to suck on a lollipop to suppress your appetite, girls are going to do it. And that's what got me so upset about it, is that she is using a platform to push products on girls that make them, it's asking to suppress human behavior for vanity. And that's what just like, it boils my blood. I could not believe my eyes. I was telling Tanner, my husband, I was like, what really blows my mind about it is it's not just that this product exists, but the fact that like it was conceived as an idea that was passed by like product development and then formulated and created. Like, this was passed off by multiple people that thought this was a good idea. And not only that, but then they got into connection with Miss Kardashian and she thought it was a good idea and her PR people thought it was a good idea. Like, the fact that this was passed by multiple people as a good idea just blows my mind, because it's teaching girls. It may sound extreme, but I see it for what it is, that it's teaching girls to suppress a behavior that your body was designed to do. I mean, you don't need to suppress your appetite. You have an appetite because that's a signal from your body telling you that you need fuel, and telling young girls that they can battle their appetite in order to be a little skinnier or feel a little prettier. That's
with
tragic
fake chemicals.
To me. And I looked up the ingredients, and their first two ingredients are sugar and a sugar syrup. And so it's And it says that it said on it that it recommended taking only 2 a day and using 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon to help curb cravings and suppress your appetite in between meals. And the thing is like, if you want a snack in between a meal, like you have a little craving, eat a tiny piece of dark chocolate. Like that has something sweet in it to give you something, but it also has like antioxidants and things like that. Like the patent chemical that they are using as the suppressant, they don't even have written on the label how much. So these girls don't know, these consumers don't know how big of a dose of suppressant they're getting. And for somebody that's young and their bodies are developing, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. We as consumers have to do better, because products exist like this because we buy them. We buy the fit tees,
Absolutely.
We buy the waist trainers, we buy the diet pills. We need to do better. We are responsible for this because we buy into those things and we buy them from what we see. Like, we as adults need to do better. We do. We have to do better.
And why we buy them is because we are a culture of instant gratification. We want quick fixes now. We want to get skinny yesterday. We don't want to have to work hard for anything. Right. We want it now, and we want it the easy way.
And I think it's truly tragic, because I understand we're in an instant gratification world and companies are capitalizing off of it. They are.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for supplementation. This is considered a supplement because of the ingredients. So it's not even FDA approved. But I am all for supplementation. I use supplements. I use a superfood supplement. I use BCAAs. I use creatine. I use a pre-workout. I believe in supplementation, but not shit like this. I'm sorry, but there's no other way to put it. I mean, we have to do better. We do.
And let me explain to the listeners about the difference of FDA versus non-FDA, because the fact is, I'm not a huge fan of the FDA anyway, because there's so much money and politics behind big pharma, big food, big medicine. They really don't have your best interest either. But the other side of the non-FDA stuff is it's basically the wild, wild west. So literally, you can take a crack addict who has the, access to big money, who can create his own thing in his own dirty warehouse, go put a beautiful label on it that's appealing to the eyes, and you buy it, and you have an actual reaction where it makes your heart do something crazy and you die. And guess what? It's your own fault, because it's not FDA approved. It's under the supplement umbrella that protects them, and it gives no requirements for any kind of standard. And in fact, I mean, we've seen just in medicine a history of the weight loss appetite suppressants causing actual cardiac arrhythmias. I can't tell you how many patients that I took care of in anesthesia, because one thing that I do worry about when I am taking care of a patient, putting them under general anesthetic, is that if they have any kind of cardiac issues. And I have taken care of so many people that were like, I took Fen back in the day, and now I'm either chronically on this arrhythmic drug, or they had to have an ablation to their heart, which means they go into one of the major vessels and they put electricity in your heart. Some had to have a pacemaker. Like, you guys, all to suppress your appetite? I mean, let's address the fact about hunger, because the thing that big food companies don't want you to understand is it's their fake food that you're eating that's causing chemical reactions in your brain to crave more. Why do you think that when you eat a whole sleeve of Oreo cookies, you still want more? Like, the only thing that stops most people is guilt, because you're like, I probably shouldn't eat anymore. You know why? It's because it's a fake food, and there are actual food scientists that study exactly how much of different chemicals it takes to make your brain crave more. You guys, that big food companies, they just want to make money off of you. Big lollipop appetite suppressants, they do not care about your health. They don't care about your weight. They just care about getting money out of your pocket.
And they are pining on the most vulnerable market. Like, the most vulnerable market of these impressionable young women. It is what it is. They're marketing directly to them. I mean, I scrolled through their marketing posts on their Instagram and everything, and I looked at the comment section, and it made me sick because it was all young girls asking, is this safe for teenagers? Will you keep this on sale until I get my paycheck from my part-time job next week? These are young girls, and we need to do better. Gosh, we have to lead by a better example, and that's why I'm calling out any females that if you have turned to hard, I know that getting healthy is freaking hard. It's a struggle. But the quick fixes that you turn to, you are giving them your dollar and your support to help take down young girls. That's truly what I believe is happening. We have to do better. We really, really interesting, because I think that this is something that not only do young girls or just women or people in general struggle with their image because of the non-realities that they see on social media, but now they're being told, if you suck on this lollipop, maybe you will look like that girl that actually diets and works out and takes care of herself, but because she's paid to hold a lollipop, it's going to make you look like her. I mean, what body dysmorphia causing kind of product is that? That's what I cannot understand.
Or let's just go ahead and acknowledge the fact that Kim Kardashian, great example. I mean, full of how much money does she put into cosmetically altering her face, her body, her everything, and that is creating all of these false images for young women to feel. I mean, living here in Orange County, I cannot tell you. For every 10 ladies that I walk past, at least 7 or 8 of them have lips like this because they have injections, because that's what they see as beautiful. They don't see their natural God-given lips as beautiful.
I think that it's fine if you want to modify your body or whatever. I have lash extensions. I wear makeup. Yeah. Those are modifications to your appearance. But where I find it harmful is when you are telling girls that their hunger is not natural and you can battle it with this product. I mean, so here are some resources of things that you can do if you are hungry, because I know, like, when you're changing the way that you're eating or you are trying to get healthier, like, you may be more hungry than often because of the fake foods that you may have been eating, and now you're switching to whole food fuel. So things that can help to satiate you, which makes you feel full and turns off the hunger signals, are healthy fats. So up your healthy fats. For example, look into it. Avocado oils, anything, like, take in healthy fats more than anything. Yes. Before you reach for a lollipop, please. I mean, and the thing is
seeds.
And the thing is, if you were to reach for any kind of a sucker in between meals, of course you're not going to eat more because it's keeping you occupied. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even... you don't need a suppressant, you don't need a sucker, but still, I mean, if you had a sucker in your mouth between meals, you probably wouldn't be eating because you're occupied. So they definitely have figured out a really good way to make it sound sensible, and it's just not. I mean, there have been appetite suppressants long before this, but I think that they have just kind of become socially acceptable because everybody uses them. I can't say that I hadn't looked into them when I was younger because I didn't know better, and I thought that's what I needed. I thought that I needed water pills or a pill that I could to, like, slim down a little before I wore a bikini, or just give me, like, that edge, because I thought that's what I needed. And it's, I mean, it's definitely not. But we have to do better. We have to, pay attention to where our dollar goes and who it's affecting, because there's impressionable young people watching you, whether you think there are or not. And I am not a perfect example of anything, but I do think that this is something to stand up for 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I really believe this is something that is promoting eating disorders. You're teaching girls to ignore the signals their bodies have to fuel them. Like, hunger is not a bad thing. It's a function. Just like your body lets you know when you need to go to the bathroom. Your body lets you know when you're tired. Your body lets you know when you're hungry. It's just how it communicates and functions. And to teach girls that that's wrong is tragic to me, truly.
Well, and not just teaching it's wrong, but if they taught the truth, there's no money to be made. Because the fact is that when our body's chemistry and hormones are in proper balance, the way that God designed us, we feel hunger when we need food, right? And when you
Yeah.
start feeding yourself whole natural foods, the whole hunger craving cycle is totally broken. I remember I thought that cravings were normal, and I got them on a regular basis until I started changing what I ate. And that's when I realized, like, okay, I know I've noticed in myself that when I am eating higher fat, lower carbohydrate, whole foods, and I'm adequately hydrating myself with good quality water, I don't get hungry very often, and I don't get cravings. I mean, it's that one time of the month that I still crave sugar, chocolate.
Right.
But
And like, that's the thing is, like, cravings happen, like those things happen, but teaching girls to suck on a lollipop to battle those things is just not right. It's not. It's piss poor marketing targeted to young people that do not know better. And if they're suffering with body images, they're not going to ask one of their friends what they should do about it. They're going to privately look through social media and find a solution when they are by themselves laying in bed at night. And then they're going to save up their money to buy that. Or the 20-something-year-old girl that feels like she doesn't fit in, or the 40-something-year-old woman that feels like she can't get her body back from her 20s. I mean, it's not just young girls, but especially young girls is where it really gets me. And the thing is if you are struggling, if you are at that point where you will just try anything, please reach out to someone, talk to somebody about it. Like, you don't know how many people are willing to help you if you ask for it. And I know it can be scary, because what we go through with our self-image is the most vulnerable process any person goes through in life. I truly believe that. Like, our self-image is the hardest battle that we have. And we have it daily, no matter who you are. But ask for help. If you are at a point where you feel like the only solution is to suck on lollipops, or only eat 500 calories a day, or try to drink a tea and wear a wrap and eat a pill, please ask for help. And if you are someone that is struggling with body image, or struggling with, what's the word I'm looking for? Eating disorders, there are resources for you. Even if you are not ready to reach out to somebody that loves you and let them know, you don't have to. You can completely ask for help anonymously. If you go to nationaleatingdisorders.org, they have a live chat where you can talk, so you don't even have to call someone. You can just talk to them like a Facebook Messenger. Or if you do want to call and talk to somebody, you can call the number. It's 1-800-931-2237. That way you have support. You don't have to go through it alone. You don't. You don't have to struggle.
And the fact is that the people, the listeners, the people are watching us live right now, and you're getting emotional for good reason, because we as coaches, we get to see the most vulnerable side of people and how it affects people to their soul, their complete self-worth, their love, their lack of self-love. And it keeps us up at night. It truly affects us.
1,000%.
I mean, just last night, I was kept up. I could not go to sleep because there was one particular person that I was heavily worried about.
I think why it gets me so much is because I feel like we're finally starting to make progress in helping people and connecting with them, and seeing something like that is just so discouraging when that's just not the way you have to do it. And you know that people are so fragile. This process is so fragile, and things like that, like I said, it's targeting people that people. It's anybody, but it's just
young people.
It's hitting people right where they think, oh, that might be the one thing that I need. That might be the thing that works. And it's in just enough of a price range where they can make money off of it, but it's not too much. So if somebody buys those and, sucks on them for a couple of days and they don't feel like anything changed, well, they may move on to something else, but that company still got money. That company was still supported. Those products still exist because we buy them. We let it go. I'm actually really proud because a lot of the influencers on social media are in an uproar about it. So people are using their platforms to fight this. And I know we don't have a giant platform, but we still have a platform. And I want to use it to stand up and say that this isn't a right thing,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kim Kardashian did take down her post about it because people were just coming for her about it. But this company still exists. They're still promoting it. They have 1.5 million followers on Instagram. And like I said, I looked through the comments. I looked through the comments and the majority of them are young women, and they're tagging their friends to come and look at it. And we have to do better. We do. We have to be better examples. We have to help woman to woman. We need to, like I said, be better consumers and be more conscious of if you are in a place where you feel like you're discouraged and that's the product that you need to lean on, I promise you there are so many other people that feel the same way. That's why those products exist. They feed on the vulnerable. They do. And that may sound intense, but it's the truth.
So I know that you've heard of Lori Harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that we get to interview her on the Fitz and Healthy podcast. She just launched her book called A Tribe Called Bliss. And I was listening to her interviewed by Lewis House, and she talked about the fact that for the longest time, she didn't get the concept that there's room at the top for all sorts of successful women, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no reason why you as a successful woman need to push other people down. And I think that this has everything to do with us older women. So even you, I mean, you're older than the poor teenage girls that are being tagged, right?
Right.
We have a responsibility to love on and build up other women so that they learn how to love themselves, so that they realize that they are worthy, that these quick fixes are not the answer to fulfill this thing that's inside of them that's not filled. And because at the end of the day, these quick fixes are just a Band-Aid over something way bigger. And it's the lack of self-love, right? And it's women like us that have to spread this message.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm calling myself out on this because like I said, I mean, 2 years ago, I was totally trying to use diuretic pills to get that edge. And like, I have contributed to that consumption and I take responsibility for that, but I want to undo the damage that I have done. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying though is
I'd purchase that stuff.
Yes, everybody is a victim to it because everybody has those doubts about themselves and those vulnerable feelings that they're not worthy enough and stuff like that because we haven't put in the work to know that, like, instead of we need less buy this and more be you. Like more like you just do you. Like just love yourself for who you are. And like if health is something that you want to go after, you are totally worth the work putting into yourself. You don't need a quick fix to try to feel better. Like that is the miss of the message. It's not buy this, but be you. Just be happy with who you are. And even if you aren't somebody that has fallen victim to the great marketing that they have and, you know, a vulnerable moment where you feel like it might be your only option, you can still do something about it. You can still lead by example by spreading awareness that self-love is not selfish. It's necessary. It's vital. And we have got to teach these younger generation especially and remind ourselves daily that you are worth more than what you see. And what you may see is not always real. And to try to hold ourselves to that standard it can be debilitating. I mean, if you don't feel good about who you are or feel like you don't serve a purpose because of how you look or how you feel, I mean, that's debilitating. It's crippling, you know? And so
it's just like my post that I made last Wednesday, my hump day post that was, I mean, I showed more booty on that post than I've ever showed before. Very vulnerable post. In fact, my dad messaged me, please take that down. He doesn't understand. I realize that he comes from a protective father stage, but he doesn't understand that most of our audience are women that needed to hear that message of learning to love yourself. No matter where you're at, no matter what size clothing you wear, no matter what the scale says, you have to learn to love yourself at all stages of life.
And the thing is, too, is that being empowered may look different for everybody. How one woman shows her empowerment may not be the same as another one does. And we can't judge that, you know?
Right.
But I do think that we have a responsibility to make sure that we are aware of, like I said, where we're putting our dollar and aware of what we may be contributing to without realizing it. I mean, if you're consuming these products and leaving a review and that is contributing to the fact that like it's credible and people are going to buy it and they're going to stick around longer. Like these are companies that need to go away and they need to go away now. And the only way that will happen is if the demand disappears,
goes down.
If we if we take responsibility to love ourselves and care for ourselves and fuel our bodies properly and teach that to the generations to come, those things won't exist. We won't have them.
And teach them what that looks like, because what that looks
Yes.
like has nothing to do with quick fixes. And that's why I don't,
Right.
you didn't even know who I was back in December of 2013, but I remember December 2013 because I made this post that was heard around the world. Not even kidding. I literally lost 3 days of my life from getting attacked by this particular company. And I'm not going to put it out there because I don't want to get attacked again. But this company, I basically made a post about why I'm against it, what side effects that I've seen in people taking it. And the reason why I'm against it is because, especially for fitness instructors and people that are respected in health and fitness, for them to get behind a product that preaches quick fix, that, oh, this is all you need to get to this. I'm against that. And I think that you are abusing your position as a role model.
Your platform.
And that's that's why I chose coaching, because we are helping people learn how to make it a lifestyle, and there are no quick fixes involved.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is if a lot of these kids don't know that it is marketing, that these bloggers or influencers are paid X amount of dollars. The companies just reach out to them. Yeah, the companies just reach out to them and say, hey, if you'll do 2 posts for X amount of dollars, we'll send you the free product and you post it. That blogger doesn't care. That influencer doesn't care. Of course, they're going to do that in exchange for money. They'll put out a post, they get their money, they move on, but the consumers don't. The consumers become consumed with those kind of products, thinking that that is the reality that they live in, because these fitness models or these celebrities that work out with a trainer, or they are a trainer, or they work with a coach and look amazing and have put in the work, but then slap a label on it to say, but this is how you can do it. It's not only false advertising, but it's destructive, completely destructive to the people behind us and how they are going to perceive themselves and lead their lives. It's unrealistic. It's unhealthy. It's dangerous and destructive.
Yep. And it's setting our young females, our young impressionable females up for major issues in their adulthood. And I always talk about the fact that I feel sorry for parents that have young girls right now, because I can't even imagine what it's going to be like 5 years, 10 years down the road, because social media is so powerful, and these images are consuming not just our young people, but our young people are so much more impressionable.
Anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that a lot of our listeners know the way that we end our episodes, but there has never really been an episode that this is most pertinent to, and this is your underlying message in everything you do. But I would like to wrap this episode up, because I think people get the point that there's a lot of change that needs to happen, and we need to speak out and learn to love ourselves. Oh, your phone died. No. So she usually ends each episode by saying, you are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you. And so that is the end of this particular episode. This will be uploaded to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. We have a YouTube channel and iTunes and Stitcher and all of the other non-iPhone users, Podbean and stuff like that. But I'm going to open it up to questions. Since Cinthany's phone died, she can't get back on unless you want to charge it, Cinthany, and get back on. But I will answer questions. But I definitely, those of you that are still on this broadcast, I beg of you to be responsible and be that female for not just the younger females, but for the females around you that need love, support, and building up. We need to lift each other up, because I promise you, there isn't enough room in the universe for every single one of us to be our badass selves, right? You can be your badass self. I can be my badass self, and we can all be at the top and be locking arms and being like, yeah, fist pump, right? So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you next live. Lauren Live. See you later. Bye. Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's Cinthanie, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a Fitz and healthy life.